welcome to this new Mass Effect Andromeda video. In this video I'm bringing you a silver lining build, which means that if you want to take the Celebratory Mission BioWare, just, reintroduced yesterday I guess, it's going to be on for at least 80 hours, 100 by the time I'm recording this. And this is the build that I'm using with the Human Vanguard, because I don't think I have any solo with the Human Vanguard. So first I want all my points in barrier. I want recuperative barrier because I think it's better. And then I don't really care about weapon weight capacity because, as you will see in a moment, I'm using the Apex training tree in order to have some, weapon weight capacity. And then I want to use charge because I think that's the most important. Having, the possibility to charge as many times as I wanted. You have two possibilities. Either you recuperate all your shields when you charge, or you can have more recharge speed when you charge, and this is what I wanted. Same for rank 4, I chose damage, but the other option is just as valuable as this first one. I just wanted to have some force, and this is what I wanted with Nova as well. That's why I did it this way. As for the consumables, you saw that I used shotgun amp and also some melee damage bonus, but I'm already using the Juggernaut Shields gear, so I don't really care about melee damage, do I? And finally, this is not exactly the build that I used because for some reason the video did not record properly, so I only have the solo, but I don't have the build, so that's after the match. In fact, my Human Vanguard earned a level 14 now, but he was level 14 before. So this Celebratory Mission has the particularity that you have an objective on each wave, and the first wave will always be upload. I'm taking some time right here, but you're not forced to do the same thing as I'm doing. I just want to maximize the experience gain that this mission is going to bring, to be honest. These 3 areas are particularly difficult because 2 of them are open air, and you don't like open spaces, even with the cats. As far as the first wave is concerned, you only have Race and Chosen. I don't think you have any Destined on the field right now, so you should not worry about any other enemy times coming in. But in fact, the Race can be really frustrating and really annoying, in fact, because they tend to come to direct contact with you, and when they do, as you know, data transfer is interrupted when there is an enemy inside the circle, so you don't want that. So I chose to use 2 shotguns because of the modifiers of this mission. The first modifier is the rate of fire has been decreased, so I wanted a weapon that, unlike, the Hurricane or the Paw, would feel different. In fact, with the Crusader, you don't really feel the difference because the rate of fire on the Crusader is sort of slow to begin with. Well, it's medium slow, it's not exactly slow, but still. And the other modifier that there is on this mission, aside from the fact that I have 50% less shields and 50% less health, is the weak point modifier, which means that if I deal damage to any other part of an enemy that is not his head or its, its weak point, like the Ascendant with the orb for instance, then I'm dealing less damage, 50% less damage than usual. But if I shoot them in the head, that's why I took a concussive version of the Crusader with me, then bada boom. And that's great, that's part of what makes this game feel great, in fact. So only one area to hack now. Well, upload, in fact. And even if I'm playing with the Vanguard, as you can see, I'm not going to, meddle with the enemy. I don't want to be too close to them. and I'm just taking a safe approach to this game. Not that I don't want to use my consumable, but you know me, I'm always trying to do things, you know, as perfectly as I can. But in this case, you'll see I used, I think, a Medigel, that's for sure. And I was quite unhappy when it happened. It happened at the very end of the match, you'll see. The other one I think was a Cobra RPG because I told myself, why not? Or no, ammunition. Well, we'll see. In fact, it's later in the game.
Upload complete. Good job.
And by the way, this match only has 5 waves. So melee here is very important because melee ignores the weapons nerving modifiers. I don't know how to call them. You know, they also ignore whether it's the weak point or not. The only point of using melee on some occasions is clearly to regain my shields, a little portion of my shields, but still that's, you know, still good. Because if my shields break again, then first of all, I can still use my saving barrier. I can still rely on my saving barrier, but also that gives me more survivability for the simple reason that the enemies have to break through Shield's Gate again, and that's that's why.
Around this area. Find and recover that data. Understood.
So if you play this mission, you should normally be entitled to open a celebratory pack, but this celebratory pack is not as impressive as it sounds, to be honest, and it's very costly. Though the only things for sure is that you will have an N7 weapon, which is not, you know, always the case with the other 500k packs, you know. Even though they are really costly, very dear, in fact, they are not a guarantee that you will have an N7 weapon in the lot. Which is sort of unfair, but you know, that's Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm not saying anything about this game now. You know, I'm just focusing on, you know, special missions because otherwise, you know, I think I'm losing my time a little. But still, you'll see that, well, with simple builds, because this is, you know, this character is accessible to all. The only big difference I have here is that I'm using N7 weapon with Siphon and Concussive modifiers, but you could imagine that you're playing with, I don't know, regular weapons. Of course, if you have a Siphon version of this weapon, that's even better, because you can rely on this to regain some health. But the Human Vanguard, although very flimsy, I must admit, has great survivability skills, you know, so use them. The power I usually leave aside would be Shockwave. For no particular reason, in fact. I don't really know why I'm not using this power. I think Nova is better for many reasons. The first reason is that I'm using Nova for the animation that it has, because it grants you 100% immunity when you're using the Nova animation. That doesn't mean that the Ascendant cannot grab you, for instance, but you're not going to use Nova next to an Ascendant, are you? So basically I'm using it when I'm simply feeling that I'm losing control of the situation, and Nova, just like the Ascension on the Human Kineticist, if you want to watch my gold solo with Wave 6 hack on Icebreaker, and this was an open space with the Remnants, so if you're interested, just watch it, because the Kineticist has basically the same trick as the Nova Guard. It's basically that these powers have a specific animation that if you enable it, if you use it, you'll see that you are immune to most attacks that the enemies deal.
One problem gone.
But you can still be grabbed by a fiend, you can still be grabbed by an ascendant, and same thing for the other enemy factions except the remnants, because no one can grab you in the remnant faction. That's part of what makes it a bit like the Geth in Mass Effect 3. So Hellgate, you see, it's survivability. And use verticality in order to ensure that the enemies are not following you too quickly, because the race, well, they are really quick, aren't they? You know, they are called predators in French. This is how we translated race. I know what a wraith is to begin with, it's like a ghost, but in French, I don't know, it shows predators. Well, it's the main idea, you know, they are tough. They are tougher than chosen, in fact. That's why you'd find race on platinum, but never chosen. There are no chosen on platinum for whatever reason. Well, because they are annoying. Devices on wave 3 can be tricky, but that's wave 3, so wave 3 is usually an objective wave, so that doesn't make a big difference from any other solos, in fact. On silver though, you have an anointed on the field, which is the big difference from, I believe, bronze, and it's not I believe, I'm sure of this now. On bronze, on wave 3, you don't have any anointed, so that means that on silver you'll get one. But, so, even if you kill it, it will keep on respawning, you know, but that's not what makes this wave difficult. What makes this wave difficult is the race. It's always the race, you know, regardless of the objective you have. Well, be careful with recovery, though there is no recovery in this match. Recovery, you have to go through the map, so yeah, be careful. Anointed can be annoying, if you allow me the pun.
Only one more!
So wave 4 now, wave 4, and well, surprisingly enough is the last wave, and it's a VIP wave. It's good not to underestimate this objective, because first of all, the boss enemies are not random. It's always going to be an elite destined, an elite anointed, and behemoth to finish with. What makes this wave easier than it could be is that you don't have any ascendant on the field. That's good. What makes this wave difficult is that the anointed, when you are focusing on the target, especially behemoth, that's the moment I died. That's up to you whether you decide it's legitimate or not. I believe it sort of was not legitimate because I don't know, I got stuck in the map somehow. I don't know how to explain this otherwise. So that's the moment I used an ammunition pack, because I told myself, well, it's not going to be perfect, so yeah, that's the problem with some maps on Mass Effect 3 and on Mass Effect Andromeda as well. A big problem I have with maps, I don't know, I keep on going into walls or, elements in the landscape that I completely overlooked, and I find myself stuck for some reason. I'm dropping, and instead of dropping, I'm, mid-air. I don't know, it's horrible, and it happens to me all the time. I'm not the only one though. I think it's part of what gives maps their particularities, I guess. But even with experience, you see there are elements of the maps that you completely forget, and you can't tell right now, but I was a bit pissed off.
Only one more.
And that's good because the Human Vanguard is a character that you want to play when you are pissed off. It's exactly the same the kind of characters you want to use to eliminate all the wrath you have deep inside your heart. Anyway, sorry, I'm just losing it.
Time to go. Get to the extraction site. Ascendant! Head down!
You couldn't even tell that I have 50% less shields and 50% less health. In fact, great survivability. And this is the only tricky wave, the extraction wave, because of the Ascendant. But the Ascendant, thanks to the wonderful weak point modifier, can die very quickly. The orb is a weak point, and then you just have to shoot the head a couple of times. And that's it. And there goes the Ascendant, you know. Oh, I'm using Disruptor Rounds. Yeah, of course, Disruptor Rounds. They're great. I forgot to mention them in the build. And I've just noticed it, you know, because I'm still more relying on my powers, to be honest. I'm trying to shoot with my weapons, of course, because I have to, but when I'm doing so, I'm trying to aim at the weak points. But the rest of the time, I'm just focusing on my power, and especially on melee, using Biotic Charge as frequently as I can and making the best of it, because it's a good power. Well, it's an excellent power, in fact, given the amount of possibilities that it gives you. And whether you prefer recharge speed over Bastion, that's up to you, really. I think Bastion is great, but usually shields are meant to be broken. And moreover, you already have Saving Barrier. Saving Barrier is great, and usually when you use charges to go as far from the enemy as you want when you want to escape, or it's when you want to melee one of them. So why not use the other option, the recharge speed option, instead of the Bastion option? Because, well, why not? You can use charge more frequently, and you can make the best of your melee skills. You know, shields regenerating melee, isn't that great, really? In Mass Effect 3, that would have made a big difference. So, yeah, that's the match. As you can see, I earned a level. And I told you, the build you saw in the beginning was not exactly the build before the match, but after the match, and I completely forgot I used Disruptor Rounds, but if you know me, it's not that surprising. And that's the pack I had. As you can see, I had the Sonnet, Concussive Sonnet. Why not? Concussive Sonnet. Anyway. Thank you for watching this video, and I catch you in the next one. I exalt out. Bye.